And after queen takes f5, bishop e6, Ribka gives 0.65 for white. So it seems the evaluation has shrunk, and the only move to give white an advantage is taking the h7 pawn, but that is a fairly easy move. Or is it giving up the exchange? Because other moves are dead equal apparently here. Queen f6, queen g5, they're all given as dead equal, 0.00. So queen takes h7, bishop takes g4, king takes g4, and now rook a d8. Apparently white, maintains an advantage here, but it's not so clear cut. So let's flip the board again and go to the original position. And so instead of Flohr's knight d8, which I suppose is another example of maybe Kotov syndrome, that maybe he had analysed a lot of knight takes g7 and played what he thought was a relatively safe move, knight d8, which turned out to be worse than what he'd analysed. And that's what they're starting to call Kotov syndrome, where you waste a lot of your analysis. So Flohr had played knight d8, but Ribka's move is actually knight takes g7 here, as more accurate than b5. So why on earth would this be? Does it avoid these variations with queen a4? I wonder. Queen a4 here, there's a different idea altogether instead of knight f5. In fact, let's have a quick look. Does knight f5 actually do anything here? Rook takes c4 and black's equal. So in this position, knight h5. Apparently. So what is going on here? Well, I mean, if knight takes h5, it's a mate in 10 apparently. Check. King f8. Rook g8 check. This is what I mean. This is brute force. Computers are finding the truth of the position with brute force nowadays. Someone with Ribka in like 10 seconds can find analysis missed by all the worldwide commentary on this game. Check. King e7. Check. King d7, check, king c6, bishop d5, king b5, bishop takes a8 check, rook c5, queen e8 check, rook c6, bishop takes c6 mate. So yeah, clear mate in 10 there if knight takes f6. Were there any other defences after this knight h5? So we have to look at this position. So say rook c6 to defend the knight. Now here, knight f6 might be a very strong move, but there's an even stronger move now, maybe, in rook g4 check or b5. If rook g4 check, so if knight takes, I guess rook e8 and queen g7 mate. If king f8, knight takes f6, rook takes f6. And now here, apparently there's a killer move, which doesn't seem, like a killer move, because it seems quite quiet in nature. In fact, another killer move has emerged, which is kind of quiet in nature. Rook eg5 plus 9.49. So why is this such a killer move? If rook g6, queen h8 check, king e7, check, king d7, check, rook d6, check, king takes check, and it looks as though the black king's had it again. Rook e7 is starting to be clearly winning for white. So it seems the immediate knight takes g7 was just winning in this other variation. If queen a4, then knight h5. So what is black doing here? If bishop takes c4, then again knight f5. So does white even need this diagonal which is claimed by Kotov? If king f8, say, now Ribka gives rook d6, queen moves, and in this position there's a mate in 3. Can you spot a mate in 3? I mean, this is good for training tactics, this whole game, because there's an exposed king. There's the black king exposed in various lines. But we know that the queen and knight, are usually very good, in coordinating attacks against the opponent's king. So it is a very, interesting position with the black king exposed. But the mate in 3 is rook e8 check. So if rook takes e8, queen takes f6, and look at the coordination now of queen and knight. White's threatening queen h8 mating. So black really can't defend against this. So it seems, Kotov b5 was not needed. Knight takes g7. I mean, it's easy to rip apart these books now. Everyone's got Ribka, which can analyse much better than any human. I mean, that's the bottom line. Computers are better at calculation. They can see all these trees of analysis instantly, and they serve you up not only the best moves, but a cute little evaluation like +3 or something, which tells white's either crushing black or how to what extent, +1 or +3, +4. So we don't have these bare trees of analysis. They're all with the position evaluation of who stands better. Kotov's initial question in his introduction, who stands better, is the question which engines immediately answer with this evaluation number. So in this position, knight takes g7, and it appears to be the most clinical move, killer move. Knight takes g7, not b5, which is what Kotov thought at the time, agreeing with Winter's analysis. So people ask, do I hate Kotov? I hate what he's trying to say, that we can think like machines. If it was based on Botvinnik's project, Kasparov has indicated quite clearly Botvinnik's project was a complete failure, that he couldn't get computers to think like humans. Computers excelled because of the brute force method, i.e. using the speed of electricity, looking at millions of positions, every single candidate move, and boiling all that down with evaluations at every branch in the tree, where the evaluation number is telling you, answering the question, who stands better. There isn't this anonymous trees of analysis when you don't have a clue who stands better at any point, and you're supposed to somehow visualize all this stuff instead of relying more on intuition and planning and strategic judgment. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and I hope it's thought-provoking. So please, leave comments on YouTube. Argue my points if you want. Argue against me. I don't care. I'm interested in the subject and finding the truth of this matter. Thanks very much.